Hello and welcome to the Holly Meredith Show. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This show is being taped on April 13th because it's Thomas Jefferson's birthday, and it holds a special significance to me, and it should to you as well. It will be aired on the 15th, but is being taped today. And on that note, as you see on my shirt, I have a flag because I'm a very patriotic person. And because it is Thomas Jefferson's birthday, one of the original founders of our country, the writer and architect of the Declaration of Independence, don't you think just maybe possibly someone in our government should be mentioning that fact? Don't you think it would be a nice thing if we had fireworks over the White House instead of having a flag at half-mast because some basketball player says he's homosexual? Don't you think it might be just a little bit better if you paid attention to the founding fathers of the greatest country that the world has ever seen, and that would be ours, the United States of America. Thomas Jefferson was an enormously, incredibly intelligent man, and he thought ahead, and he thought long and hard before he formulated all the principles under which we live. And he is virtually forgotten. Martin Luther King Day gets more attention than the founder of your country. Somewhere in that equation you should understand that it's all backwards. And the reason there is no attention given to Thomas Jefferson is because the people in charge of your country at the moment do not want you to understand all the rights and liberties and freedoms that you have. Because they are like busy little bees busily taking them away one by one, while you concentrate on Kim Kardashian's butt. This is why we're doing the show today. I want to wake you up. I want to take those blinkers and blinders off your eyes. I want you to realize who you are. You're an American. There is nothing like us. If you would only wake up and understand that. Yesterday, in Nevada, part of these freedoms came to bear because yesterday American citizens refused to put up with the thugocracy of our government. Yesterday you had American people in the shot firing line of snipers hanging out of helicopters sent by your federal government. Yes, yesterday American citizens were in line to be shot upon and fired at with Huey helicopters above them, just like you saw in Apocalypse Now. Well, it is Apocalypse Now, only it's our apocalypse. Please, people. The reason this is all going on is because there is a rancher there who's owned the property that he lives on for more than 100 years. He grazes some of his cattle on open range. Do you understand what open range means? Open range means it's free and open range, where the buffalo and the antelope reign. Remember that song? That's because it's open range. The government doesn't own it. It belongs to the country. That means it belongs to you. It doesn't belong to Harry Reid and his disgusting, atrocious son, Rory Reid. They have a deal they're trying to consummate with China. They want to buy that land and give it to China. They don't want to pay for it. They want to expropriate it, take it away, and then make a deal with China, whereby they will enrich themselves enormously. But the country won't. The country will be bereft of its rights, and this man will be bereft of his right to put his cattle on open grazing land. And yesterday, the military might of our country, the brave and true patriotic soldiers, said no. More than 1,000 men stood on the bridge between this man and our federal government with their guns. If nothing else tells you that you should be armed to the teeth, this should tell you. Everybody should have at least one gun, preferably two, maybe three, and nobody should know where they are but you. This is why we have the Second Amendment. This is why we are the only country in the world that could do what we did yesterday. They can't do it in the Ukraine. They can't do it in Venezuela. They couldn't do it in Germany. They couldn't do it in Russia. And what was the one common denominator as to why those people couldn't protect and defend themselves? Because they didn't have any guns. Only the government had the guns. And the government had taken them away from all those people. All of those countries' people had guns once upon a time until their governments confiscated them. So here we are at what I call a linchpin in our history. Linchpin is a good word for you. You are either going to remain a free and proud and independent, brave and bold country, or you are going to be a servant and a slave and a serf for the rest of your existence, your children's existence, your grandchildren's existence, and now with an $18 trillion debt, your great-great-great-grandchildren's existence will be spent paying back all this profligate spending from which you have benefited not at all. Why would you want to remain a citizen in a country that is doing everything it can to harm you? Being a citizen of America is the same thing as being a member in a gym. Yes, it is. A citizenship is a voluntary agreement. We have agreed to be citizens of the United States of America. It is not America of the United States. We have a right to our freedoms. If we do not like what our government is doing, we have a right to change it. We have a duty to change it. Your government at the moment is robbing you blind, morning, noon, and night, along with the help of the completely illegal and unconstitutional Federal Reserve Board. Why should you have to pay extortionate interest rates at your banks, fees just because you want to put money in the bank or take money out of the bank? That's the latest one. If you want to send money somewhere, you have to pay a fee. $35 on the bank end that you're sending it from, and $15 on the bank end that is receiving your money. What? Now you're being charged if you want to transact anything to do with your money. And you know why that is true? Because the 12 banks in the Federal Reserve Board control them. So when they say this is the way it's going to be, that's the way it's going to be. All the little banks that used to be all around the country, we used to have thousands and thousands of local banks. Little local banks that dealt with the people there, all gobbled up, all swallowed up, all taken over because the Federal Reserve Board, along with our Treasury, which by the way, the Federal Reserve Board just paid the Treasury, which you'll never get any of, more than $67 billion. Oh, remember, they can't find $9 trillion of it though. Please, people, if yesterday was not a wake-up call for you, then you're dead. And if you're not dead already, you will be soon. Because again, if you look at the pictures, very sparing pictures that were allowed to be sent out yesterday, by the way, if the actual people on the ground in Nevada weren't taking their own pictures before they shut off all cell phone communication. They did that yesterday. They have no right to do that, but they did it. And part of the Communist Manifesto is complete control of all communications. Why do you think that boob in our White House wants to give away control of the internet? Think about that just logically for one moment. Yesterday in Nevada, when our people, our citizens, were under siege by our government shut off all communications shut off, because they can do that. They can do that thanks to the NSA. They can do that because they control all the licensing for all the different stations that put everybody's ability to talk to each other out. And yesterday they just shut it off. Remember when the black woman in front of the White House got a bullet in her head? Remember that? It was on for all of one day. One day, all the cell phones in the area were confiscated. And have you ever heard another word about it? Well, no, you have not. And no, you will not either. Because your government controls the communication. Your government, through paid-off, bought and controlled media, lets you know what it wants you to know. It hasn't always been this way, but it's been this way for about 50 years. And now it's gotten to the point where it's unbearable. It is no longer tolerable. We must stand and revolt, just like they did yesterday. You don't have to put up with this. If I were to read you all the tenets of the Communist Manifesto, you would realize that we are living in a communist country right now. Part of the Communist Manifesto is to have a central bank, which is controlled through the state with state money, that would be your treasury, and has a monopoly on all of your currency. Why, that's the Federal Reserve Board. And it's one of the tenets of the Communist Manifesto. It's right there. One of the tenets of the Communist Manifesto is that all children in the country are to be educated in the public schools with a program approved by the communists in charge. Well, that would be Common Core, in reality known as Communist Core. So when you start adding up all of the different tenets from the Communist Manifesto written by Friedrich Engels and Karl Marx in Germany, and by the way, Karl Marx was expelled from Germany, where he went to live in London, England, while he continued to write all about communism. He was expelled from Germany in 1849 long before Hitler did anything about them. 1849 for his writings, they threw him out of Germany. If you don't believe me, look up the Communist Manifesto yourself, and you will see exactly what I'm saying is the truth. The problem is, it's Thomas Jefferson's birthday, and nobody is celebrating it. No one is talking about it. Probably half the people you speak to have no idea who the hell he is. And why is that? Because this country represents a true and present danger to the people who want to control you and your money. There has never been another country ever that has produced so much wealth. And over the past 15 to 20 years, your communist people in charge of your government have been systematically stripping all of our wealth one by one by one. The equity in your houses, gone. The money in your 401ks, gone. The money that you think you've invested in Social Security. Oh, let me talk about Social Security, otherwise known as socialism. If you have a choice in your life of getting the money that you get paid and you take it yourself and you invest it where you want it to be, you would be making back right now in your retirement 3 to 5 times the amount of money that you're getting paid through your paltry Social Security system, because it's set up that way. Your Social Security trust fund was robbed in 1973 to pay down the debt at that time. The debt ceiling had been raised for the first time in our history in 1968. So by 1973, the current Congress at that time, trying to rob everybody even then, had to figure something out, so they took all the money out of the trust fund, which at that time was a lot. They took all of the money out of the Social Security trust fund, ta-da, and just applied it to the national debt. Well, newsflash again, there is no legality for them to have done that, and if they did do that, there was nothing in writing that said they had to pay it back, ever. So they stole your money, again, with no thing in paper that says they have to ever pay it back to you, which they have no intention of ever doing. And then Jimmy Carter, another whatever, Jimmy Carter changed the way the COLAs are written, and that's how the cost of living increase is effective. Every single person on Social Security today, after paying into Social Security since you were born, every single person should be getting at least 3 times the amount of your check. At least 3 times the amount of your check. Look at the check you get. The average in the country is $1,200. Can you live on $1,200? I mean, can you even go to the store and buy enough groceries for a week anymore? No, you cannot. You should be making 3 times that. But thank you, Jimmy Carter, another doofus from hell, because he changed it. And now that money that should be coming to the people that earned it is going to the welfare people. Yes, you know, the welfare people that have baby after baby after baby after baby, never stopping, because what the hell, we don't have to pay for it. Those idiots pay for it. I'm getting ready to go to my first break, so please come back after the break.
Hi, my name is Michael Goldenberg. I'm the owner of Quality Ink and Toner. We've been in business for 8 years now. We sell compatible and remanufactured toner cartridges. Specialize in offices, doctors, lawyers, insurance companies. Delivery is free if you're in Palm Beach County or Broward. If you're outside of that area, drop shifts are available. Phone number is 561-396-4700. Okay, if you call us today, you can have same-day delivery. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Hello, and welcome back to the Holly Meredith Show. As I was saying before I left for my first break, we are now living in a communist country. It's a very hard reality to face and absorb, but it is true. Allow me to give you a few more tenets from the Absolute Communist Manifesto, which is known to be one of the most influential political documents in the world, because so many people have tried it and it has failed miserably, but they have tried it. So obviously it holds a lot of power to a certain segment of the population. One of the tenets is that you will have a progressive and heavy taxation. We have a progressive taxation. It is not what was in the Constitution. In the Constitution, you're supposed to have taxation sufficient to the day, meaning whatever was required just to make sure the country worked. Not taxing you on your abilities. Not taking from one citizen to give to the other. As I've said to you before on another show, I work with a lot of attorneys. And one of my attorney friends said to me one day, we were having a discussion about the Constitution, and he is a smart guy, and he's a constitutional attorney. And he said, well, the Constitution was founded on the idea of doing the greater good for the most people. I almost punched him. The Constitution was not founded on doing the greater good for the most people. What a crock. What a communist manifesto idea. The Constitution was founded on individual liberties and freedoms for all to be whatever you can be, to make the most of your God-given inalienable rights in the Constitution, meaning no one can take them away from you because they didn't give them to you in the first place. Obama didn't give you the right to get up in the morning and go to work. Obama didn't give you the right to be intelligent or not. Obama is not responsible for whether you came here 200 years ago or 5 years ago, or aren't even here legally. He's not responsible for any of that. He has nothing to say about it. And you need to make him aware of that. You need to make him aware he's just a little teeny man in a little teeny part of the world in Washington, D.C., which is a little teeny part of communist Russia. Washington, D.C. has now become not only Pravda on the Potomac, but it has now become Bolshevik land. And if you don't understand Bolsheviks, look that one up. The Bolsheviks, communists, the Bolsheviks presided over one of the worst mass slaughters of people the world has ever seen. Dwarfs little Adolf, dwarfs him entirely. He pales in comparison. More than 110 million Russians who did not agree with the Bolsheviks were killed. And not in pretty ways either. Nobody was worried about cruel and unusual punishment. But do you hear about that? No, you do not hear about that. So I want you today to take away from this show, look up Communist Manifesto. I'm telling you right now what it means. Progressive income tax, we have it. We certainly do have it, and we shouldn't. Abolition of a state so that you can't have whatever your parents did in their lifetime or your grandparents did in their lifetime. The Communist Manifesto says you cannot have that. There is no estate to be passed on. What? Excuse me, look around. Kennedys, Clintons, Cuomos, pick a few people. Obviously, the laws that apply to the rest of us don't apply to them. Why is that? Because they write them. Why do you think only attorneys are allowed to have referral fees? Because attorneys write the laws. There's no reason why only attorneys should have referral fees. None whatsoever. If you refer something, you should get a fee for it. You did the referral. Why should you have to skulk about in the night and secretly pay somebody money in cash so that you're not caught giving a referral? What? Please, people. All of that might and power that the thugocracy took over yesterday on a little man's ranch in Nevada with helicopters, with snipers, armed snipers, hanging out of their helicopter windows, ready to shoot these people because they won't hand their land over, and they don't have to hand their land over. It's their land, and it's open range. Buffalo, remember, we're the land of the buffalo and the antelope rain. If John Wayne was alive today, he'd be shooting these people right out of the sky. And the next time some helicopter flies over your house with a sniper hanging out of it, blow it out of the air. Because that's what you should be doing. Blow the goddamn thing out of the air. Enough of this stuff. Who the hell do they think they are? They're just little teeny tiny paltry people trying to maintain a hold on the greatest country in the world while they try to rip it to shreds, rob it blind, and make us part of the, wait for it, world order. Look around the world. Do you see any country you'd rather be? Because I know you don't, because there aren't any. Would you rather be, Nigeria? Would you rather be Venezuela? Would you rather be Belgium, where they're almost 97% gay? Homosexual. Would you rather be, pick a country, pick anywhere. This is the country. This is the only country that formulates all the rest of the country's economy. We run it. And all the BS they try to tell you is just that, BS. If we stop supporting the rest of the world, as I've told you before, there'd be a big blank space out there. At night, when all the lights go off, the only place with lights on would be here. We pay for everybody's military protection. We pay for it, us. And they have the nerve to say they don't like us. Well, screw you. You don't like us, who cares? We can stop all of this nonsense. Stop feeding them. Hey, I love that idea. You have too many people in Nigeria, that's because of us. You have too many people in Liberia, too many people in Chad, too many people in Somalia, that's because of us. When we left the beautiful continent of Africa alone, before we started giving them condoms, and which they don't use, by the way, they blow them up and fill them up with water and treat them like balloons. They don't put them where they should be. They have a good time with them. But they don't put them on the part of their anatomy they should be putting them on, so that they wouldn't be creating babies that they cannot feed, so that we would be giving them more money to make more condoms and more babies that go on and on and on and on and on and on forever. Just stop feeding them. It's so simple. And let nature take its course, because nature will take its course. If there are too many people somewhere, nature makes sure that enough of them die off that they can feed the remainder. It's called Darwin's Law of Survival. And it's been working for millions of years until we stepped in. We need to step out. And I mean literally, step out. And we need to get the goddamn UN out of New York. By the way, the only communist registered party in the USA is, guess where? This took no thought, New York. New York is where the registered Communist Party affiliations are. Of course it's in New York. Where else would it be? It's certainly not going to be in Fargo, North Dakota. They would know a communist if they fell over one. But in New York, you can't walk 2 steps without tripping over one. That's your difference. So please, again, I know I get a little upset because I'm more than a little upset. You have everything. People kill to get, literally, kill to get here. Yesterday in, oh God, poor Texas, poor Texas. Every day over their borders, they have to open up trunks of cars. Yesterday, he found 3 trunks of cars packed with people like sardines. People upside down, twisted up on each other like pretzels, trying to get into the country. Now, they got them out of the trunk. My opinion, they should have closed the lid, turned the car on, and sent them back trunk and all. Because taking them out of the trunk means they're here. And now we have to go through the ACLU nonsense of providing them with an attorney and giving them rights they're not entitled to and letting them have a place to live and feeding them while we do so. And that means more money that you have to find and pay for. Why are you struggling so much? Why is this country struggling so much? Because you're paying for the rest of the world. Do you understand if you stop doing that, every single American citizen would be able to sit down at 5 o'clock at night after a regular day's work and enjoy their family? That you wouldn't have to have 2 people working to be able to pay their mortgage? No, that started in 1964 with Lyndon, Baines, Johnson, May, he, what in hell for everything this creature has done to us. And I mean creature. That's a whole other show that I'll tell you about all those people and the backyard deals they made in order to bury everybody with this atrocity. And it was an atrocity. The Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, and the 1968 Immigration Act have now buried you with people that are not capable of thought. But you have to figure out how to get them to college. Hello, hello. They don't belong in college. They can't graduate 5th grade. But no, because they might be black, brown, yellow, green, purple, black and white, whatever. If they're a different color than white, of course they're college material. Of course they should be in college. No, they shouldn't. They should be in vocational school when they're 7. Please, enough of this nonsense. You have a brain, use it. Look around. We now have $4 gasoline. We have more oil than any other country in the world. Why are we paying $4 for our gasoline? Because the thugs in your White House, that would be the Obama thing, and Saudi Arabia make a deal that benefits who? It benefits Saudi Arabia, and it benefits the thugs in our government. It doesn't benefit you. Excuse me. Are you benefiting because you're paying $4 a gallon for gasoline? And now they want to dump on you a 15 to 20 cent carbon tax on every gallon of gasoline. Please, stop it. You have to stop it. Your gasoline should cost you about $1.20. That's it. No 10% ethanol subsidy. They pay farmers not to grow corn. Have you ever been so stupid in your life? Farmers who grow corn are being paid not to grow corn so that they can charge you an extra 10% on your gasoline. No, 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 no. your gasoline should be $1.20. Every time you go to fill up your tank, think about that. That's where it should be. You are subsidizing the rest of the world to make sure they can have gasoline. We make sure they get enough gasoline while we pay them more for it. It's just welfare for the rest of the world, like everything else we do in this country. You go to work and have early heart attacks and can't do what you want to do in your life, can't take a vacation, can't buy a new car, can't do all the things, hey, that you work for and you should be able to do, because when you get your money, your gross check that you earn, the government takes that whack right off the top, whether you like it or not. So I say to you, why do you want to remain a citizen of the United States? It's time for you to say no. It's time for you to remove yourself from that agreement, and it's an agreement. It's time for you to say, I don't want to be part of a government that tries to harm me every single day. I don't want anything to do with Obamacare because I'll never survive it. Obamacare is meant to kill off old people. I've told you this before, and I'm going to make it clear to you now. It is meant to kill off old people. You are going to get inferior care. Only a few hospitals will take you. The worst of the worst doctors, and now you'll get nurse practitioners because real physicians will be taking care of them. Have you never figured out why do they live so goddamn long? Well, they live so goddamn long because they have the finest health care in the world with no cap and no copay that you pay for. You pay for it. They don't have to come up with any deductible. Nothing. And they can go to any hospital they want. And they have round-the-clock 24-hour people that will take them there. All on you. So since you're paying for everything, don't you think you should be getting something out of it? Shouldn't something be coming back to you since you're the people producing all of the money? Take a look around you and say, wait just a minute. Something isn't right here. You can get rid of all this. You can change all this. I'm not really too much in favor of voting anymore because almost all of our elections are rigged. They've been rigged for about the last 10 to 15 years, and the absolute biggest rigging problem is always the electronic machines they have you touch. I will sit here and tell you quite bluntly, when I voted in the last election and I voted for Romney, when I pushed my finger on the button, I saw all of a sudden, I pushed the Romney button, but I saw a flash of Obama, and I thought at the time, wow, that's weird. Now, I don't think it's weird. I think my vote automatically went to Obama because I think the machines are rigged that way. I think they were rigged for that election. They may have been rigged for the election before, but our elections are rigged. Rigged right down the path. So voting may not be our answer. Yesterday may be our answer. Yesterday, being armed and dangerous and prepared may be our answer. Because yesterday, the citizens of America faced down their thug government.
Hi, good morning. I'm the owner of Chopstick Chinese Restaurant. My name is Scott Alam. I'm serving Mandarin, Sichuan, Cantonese cuisine past 18 years. I'm only the Chinese restaurant who's serving the halal food from South Florida, and then we make a fresh cake and everything made from scratch. So cooks in order. So please try us, and we're in downtown, central location, and under the Dark Bay building. As you can see, we have a catering tonight, 100 people. Mostly we do takeout, dining, delivery, and catering too. So we have a price ranges start from $6 to in between $12 to $13. Try us. Thank you.
This is Holly Meredith getting ready to close my show. I know for those of you who tend to be Casper milk toasts, I'm a little bit scary. In fact, I'm a lot scary, and I would like to be a lot scarier. The reason I want to be that way, the reason I think everybody needs to wake up and pay attention, get armed, and be prepared, is because that's where we are. That is where we are. And if you don't think it can happen here, it can. It can happen here. You can wake up one morning and not be able to get any money out of your ATM like it happened in Greece. You can have your cell phones cut off at any time so you can't talk to anybody because most people don't have landlines. Most people only have their cell phones, so they have no other access. If they turn off your computer and your Facebook and your smartphone and you can't talk to anybody, Where the hell are you? Screwed is where you are. So you have to wake up and pay attention and be prepared. You can't be 50 pounds overweight anymore. You've got to get up and get rid of that extra belly. You've got to firm yourself up and turn into the kind of American we used to be when, as I said, we were admired, we were respected, we were feared, we were dauntless, we were the people who came to everybody's aid, not the people who gave everybody aid. All of this has to stop. All the money we make has to come back to us, back to our country. It has to be for our improvement, not the rest of the freaking world. If it becomes a banana boat republic out there, so what? We'll give them bananas. This has got to end. All of the money that you turn in every single year, last year 3.7 trillion alone, just in income tax, not in all the other taxes they stick on you. Can you imagine how much money is there that you never know about? Because they don't have to tell you anything. Would you ever be anywhere with a company that never told you anything, took all your money and did anything to harm you? Would you stay with that company? Then un-American yourself. Say, I am not going to be a citizen of the thugocracy anymore. And mean it. Because this is an equation that is a two-sided equation. You are giving them access to your life, your money, your funds, your future. You don't have to do that. We had a civil war, and it was all done correctly. The reason we lost is because the South never had a chance. They never had a chance because, I can't even say his name either, Lincoln, made sure that all of the people who were doing everything to ruin the South couldn't get any arms to them, couldn't get anything to them at all. Before the war started, although it was done correctly, everything was done correctly, it's in our Constitution. You can secede anytime you want to. It's in the Constitution. We don't have to put up with this. So I'm saying to you again, I'm getting ready to close my show. Please come back the next time. We're going to be on 2, 3, and sometimes 4 times a week from now on, and we are definitely going to be having the book out any moment now. You're going to be able to get red, white, and blue, the only colors that count. And if you think this show is incendiary, wait until you read the book. This is Holly Meredith closing my show. Thank you so much.